All right, today's lesson is on 4.2a, graphing linear equations using the slope-intercept form. So write this title down and we'll get started on our notes. We have some notes and I think we have 6 examples today. Since we are going to be graphing in this unit, be sure to have graph paper on hand. All right, so here we go. All right, the slope-intercept form, write that down. The slope-intercept form equation of a line is an equation of a line where y is a function of x, which you've seen before, and it's a linear equation in the form below. So this is the form, y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is the y-intercept. Y-intercept means that's where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so here we have an equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 1. This is the slope-intercept form of an equation. This number, the 1/2 that's with the x, that is your slope. That's the m is your slope. And this 1 is the y-intercept. And that is going to be your b. So b will be equal to 1, and the y-intercept is at the point where x is 0 and y is 1, 0, 1. And we can graph this here, so you'll want to graph this. This is your x-axis, your y-axis. You start to graph this by putting the y-intercept here, this point, 0, 1. That 1 right there tells you that this is 0, 1. That's where it crosses the y-axis. So you start with that, and then you use your slope, which is rise over run, 1/2. So you would start and go up 1 and over 2, put a point. Then go up 1, over 2, put another point. Then we would draw a line through the 3 points, put arrows at both ends, and now you've graphed an equation. All right, let's look at some examples. All right, example 1, it says rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, then identify the slope and the y-intercept of the line. So you have to identify the slope, the b, and the y-intercept of the line. So here we start out with 3x plus y equals 2. So you want to rewrite the equation in the slope-intercept form. So we don't want to leave it in this form. We want to use this form right here. So that means I'm going to take 3x plus y equals 2, and I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides because I want the y to be on the left-hand side and everything else to be on the right. So I end up, this cancels, and I get y is equal to a negative 3x, because I subtracted it, plus 2. Now I have it in this form, y equals mx plus b, so I know that my slope is going to be here, the letter that's the number that's with the x. So my slope is m, and that's going to be a negative 3. And then my y-intercept is going to be this b right here. So then my y-intercept, which I'll call b, is going to be 2. And the point at which it is, the y-intercept would be where x is 0 and y is 2. All right, and that's my answer to 3. The slope is m, b is the y-intercept, and the point at which it intercepts is 0, 2. All right, let's try number 2. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. So I have y minus 4 equals 3x. I want the y to be on the left and everything else to be on the right, so it looks like this. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So when I do that, I get y is equal to 3x plus 4. Now I need to identify the slope, the b, and the y-intercept. So all I do is refer back to y equals mx plus b, and I know that the slope is going to be the 3. That's that number right there. The b is going to be the 4. That's that number. And the y-intercept is going to be at x is 0, y is 4. So the y-intercept will always be where x is 0 and y is another number, and it could also be 0. Okay, let's go on to the next examples. There's 6 altogether, I believe. All right, the next part of our lesson is graphing a line. If I give you a point, so I give you a point here, and then I give you the slope, you should be able to graph the line. And where you start is you start at the point. So I have a point, and I'm going to graph it. So I need negative 5, 3. So I'm going to go over on my x, that's my y. So I go over to negative 5, 3 and put a point. All right, so that is my point, negative 5, 3. Now remember, slope is rise over run. And because this slope, is negative, the line will be going down. So negative lines go downhill. So this is a downhill line because it has a negative slope. So you must remember that. So rise over run means I'm going to go down first and then over. So I'm going to go down 1 and then over to 6. Then I'm going to go down 1 and over 6. So down 1, then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I have enough points and I can graph the line. So just draw a line through it, put an arrow at either end, and now you have the graph of that line by using the point and then using the slope. Let's do another one. All right, here I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to graph this point first, and then I'm going to use the slope to find other points on the line. Now remember, if you look at the slope, this slope is a positive 1, which means it's going to be an uphill line. So positive lines go uphill and negative lines go downhill. So start at negative 4, negative 7. All right, so this point is negative 4, negative 7. When I have a slope of 1, that means it's really 1 over 1. So you have a rise of 1 and a run of 1. So anytime you have a whole number, you have to put it over 1. All right, so I start here and I go up 1 and over 1, up 1 and over 1, up 1 and over 1, up 1 and over 1. And then I could keep going on and on and on, but I'm just going to draw a line. It may not be perfect, but that's okay. Put an arrow at either end, and now you've graphed this line. It's an uphill line because it has a positive slope. All right, 2 more examples. All right, example 5, you need to write down, and we're going to graph this as well. So it says graph the equation using the slope-intercept form. So it gives us this equation in a different form, and the first thing we want to do, step number 1, is rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to do my work over here. I'm going to basically solve for y. So I want everything else to be on the right-hand side and the y to be on the left. So if I subtract 2x from both sides, and I draw a line, this goes away, and I get y equals. Now I want to always put the x first because I want it to be in the slope-intercept form. So I get y is equal to, and I'll rewrite it down here, negative 2x plus 3. All right, so that's the first step. The second step is to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope, remember, is m, and that's going to be the negative 2 there. That's my slope. And the y-intercept is where, remember, the b is 3. That's the 3. So that means the y-intercept is the point where x is 0 and y is 3. So that's my y-intercept. Once I have that, then I will plot the y-intercept first. So my y-intercept is here at 0, 3. That's 0, 3. Then the next step is to use the slope to locate a second point. So I know that I have a slope of negative 2. That means it's negative 2 over 1, which is rise over run. And the slope is negative, so that means it's a downhill line. So it's going to go downhill. So I start at this point, and I go down 2, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Now if I want to go and put some points to the left in the second quadrant, instead of going down 2 over 1, I can go up 2 and then left 1, up 2 and left 1, and I still get points on the line. And you can look at it and see that all of these points would be in a straight line. So you need to be able to do slope backwards and forwards. Then it says draw a line through the 2 points, which is what I just did. And that's how you graph an equation using slope-intercept form, and you need to be able to do this on your homework. All right, the last problem of today. Okay, we have the same kind of problem that we've had before. So now, example 6, write the equation down. You have x minus 4y equals 12. The first thing you want to do is rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to do my work up here, and I'll rewrite the equation, and then I need to solve for y. Now this one will be a little bit different because you've got a 4 that's with the y. So first thing I do is subtract x from both sides, and then I draw a line, and then I'm left with negative 4y equals, and I always want to put the x first, so negative x plus the 12. Now this is what's a little bit different. We're going to divide the negative 4 on all the terms, negative 4. So everything is divided by negative 4 so that that clears. And what I'm left with is the y, because the 4's cancel. Now a negative x over negative 4 is the same thing as a negative 1 over a negative 4 with an x to the side. So anytime there's not a number there, that means there's a 1. So a negative 1 divided by a negative 4 is positive 1/4, and I usually put the x out to the side. And then a 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. So now that my equation is y equals 1/4 x minus 3. Now, that was step 1. Step 2 is to identify the slope. So m, the slope, is equal to the number that's with the x, that's 1/4. The y-intercept here is the b, that's negative 3, which means it intercepts where x is 0 and y is negative 3. Next step, plot the y-intercept that we have. So 0, negative 3 is here. We need to plot that. Next step is use the slope to locate a second point. Now notice that my slope is positive 1/4. That means it's an uphill line. Okay, positive slopes are uphill lines. So I take my starting here at my point, I'm going to go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, rise over run. If I want to do the 1/4 backwards, then I would go the opposite. Instead of going up, I go down 1. Instead of going to the right, I go left 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, over 1, 2, 3, 4. And all of these points would be on this line, y equals 1/4 x minus 3, with a slope of 1/4 and a y-intercept of negative 3. And you could see this is where it crosses. That's the y-intercept. Okay, that's it for today. So you have homework to do. Make sure you do a whisk on this particular notes. You never know when I will give a notes quiz. And make sure you put when and where you watched it, summarized it, and then any questions that you have. Thanks for watching.